When it came time to give that sugar, I was like, oh God, what do I do? I just started making excuses. So like, oh, well, it's that time of the month. I feel so sick. And we were actually in the Philippines when that happened, because he brought out sexy lingerie outfits and he wanted me to wear them. I was like, oh God.
Well, did you not know going into the site that's kind of what they expect? There's kind of an expectation for intimacy.
Right. But I thought from my first experience, I could kind of get that again, or at least kind of weasel my way out of it and still get that support.
But it didn't work.
That wasn't the case, no.
Can I just ask, were you a virgin at this time?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
So
this is starting to make sense to me.
Yeah.
So you got on Seeking as a virgin sugar baby.
Yeah.
Wow.
Welcome to Secrets of a Sugar Daddy. Here's your host, Marcus.
Welcome to another episode of Secrets of a Sugar Daddy, the #1 sugar dating podcast in the world, where we pull back the curtains on the good, the bad, and Lilly, the shocking stories. How are you?
I'm good.
Lilly joined us remote because she made a trip to her hometown about 3 hours away, but she still wanted to be a part of the podcast. Actually, I wanted her to be a part of the podcast.
He likes my woman's perspective.
Yes, we definitely need a woman's perspective because I have a special guest in today, and this is going to be a first, and this is something I've been trying to get on the schedule, is a sugar baby of a different color. And this is our first black sugar baby. Is that, can I refer to you as a black sugar baby?
Yes, of course.
Okay. You never know in this day and time, but I am so interested in getting the perspective. So welcome, Aria.
Thank you for having me.
How are you? Thanks for coming on the show. We actually have never met in person, and you were gracious enough to come down. And you've been on the site a couple years, right?
Yeah, on and off a couple years.
On and off.
So yeah, I'd just like to share my perspective.
So where are you from originally?
I moved here actually from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah. And how long have you been in the Midwest? Or no, we're not the Midwest. The West. Arizona is considered the West.
Yeah, West Coast. About 3 years now.
Okay. And were you on the site? Were you a sugar baby in North Carolina?
Yes, I was, but I was very young. Like I literally just turned 18.
Really? How old are you now?
I'm 20-something.
You're 20-something. Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
20-something.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you got on.
Okay, just for the record, I just want to chime in for a minute.
Yeah.
Just to let our listeners know, this is a very stunning, beautiful African-American woman.
Oh,
and she's in her mid-20s. She is gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had great success on the site?
Okay, so at first, of course I lived in the South. I was really young, coming into like my womanhood. I was a very young adult, right? So I feel like I did have a little bit success. And then after that, I got like 2 good, reasonable sugar daddies, right? After that, it just like I had no responses. I didn't have many messages. So I figured maybe it's the area, it's the South. Maybe they don't really care for a lot of black women. There's not a lot of black men on the site either.
So Aria, I'm curious, how did you find Seeking at 21 years old?
That's a good question. Actually, I think I saw it on like a website blog or the news. They did a report with the owner of the website. So I was hearing all these stories about these successful sugar babies that were getting like mansions and luxury cars and, all these nice things. They're getting their college tuition paid for. So I was like, you know what? I'm young. I'm pretty good looking. Like I take care of myself. I like to do my makeup and dress nice. Why not? I should try it, right? And again, I was a young college student myself, working minimum wage, so it would really help if I can find someone to support me. So I was like, okay, I'll just check it out. It's on the news, so it should be legit.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, everything's legit on the news.
Right.
So I checked it out, of course. Right. So I made my profile. I was really, of course, young and naive. My first sugar daddy was way older. He was 49 or something, and I was 18.
Oh.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that age difference?
I didn't really mind it, honestly, because he was pretty good looking for his age, right? And so I was like, okay, he looks good at least. Okay, what if he starts to want some sugar? Like, what do I do? I'm like nervous. So our first meeting was actually at like a coffee shop. We met at like a Starbucks or something. So I was like, okay, at least we're meeting in public, so nothing weird should really happen. I'm not going to go to his place or anything. And we actually had a good time, and I was expecting the worst after. I was like, oh God, he's going to come on to me now. What do I do? But surprisingly, we were never like romantic or affectionate in any way. He was really just a friend. And we still had amazing experiences together. I wouldn't say it was like he paid me or supported me, but he was more of an experienced sugar daddy. You'll travel together, you go to fine dining, staycations at 5-star hotels, stuff like that. Courtside at basketball games.
And you got to experience all this with him?
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. So it was
So
like
my
the
question, was it weird that he was so much older? Did you guys get strange looks from people? Or like, did people realize you were actually on dates?
That's a good question. I mean, of course, and when you go to like the most expensive areas, at least in my city, you do get looks, especially considering he was white, I was black, I was a young girl. But again, we weren't all over each other, coupley holding hands, so it wasn't too bad. They just assumed, oh, maybe that's his assistant or something. He's treating her to something nice, you know? That's what I felt personally. So it wasn't that bad. It was worth it, so I didn't mind.
How long did that one last?
That one lasted on and off for about a year. But I wasn't too concerned about it because I was like, oh, I can find someone else who actually pay me to support, you know, the lifestyle that I want, right? So I was like, okay, if he just leaves or ghosts me, it's fine. He's not a big deal. Like, he's just a friend anyway.
So that was your first experience on the site?
Yeah, very first experience.
And was he the first guy you met?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow,
Online.
That's so interesting. And it never got physical?
Never, ever. He didn't, like, kiss me on the cheek even. Like, we never hold hands, anything.
Really? So he just enjoyed your company?
Yep.
And you guys, how many times a week would you see each other for a year? Just once a week? Just kind of occasionally? How would that work?
It depends. Monthly, I would say maybe anywhere between 2 to 6 times a month.
Okay. And
so
then
it really
would he just compensate you per meet?
Again, not really. Because, like, all the expenses were paid for. Like, we go out to dinner. He pays for that.
So you were getting, your benefits were great dinners, a good time.
Trips.
Concert, basketball games or whatever, things like that. And you really enjoyed that.
I did, because I never experienced that. And without him, I never would have gotten that chance anyway.
So you felt like that was compensation enough kind of for your time? Yeah. Well, very good. Did you have any friends that you talked about that you were on the site and you were experiencing these things? Did you have somebody that you confided with on that?
Oh, yeah, all the time. My friends from high school, actually, I told them of them on the site, and they're like, oh, my God, you actually have a sugar daddy? Because they would joke about it all the time. They're like, oh, I want a sugar daddy. I want this. And actually, it's kind of ironic because I would judge them about it. I'd be like, why would you want a man to take care of you? And, like, you know, you're just going to sleep with them, and they're going to give you, you're like a hooker, basically. You know, I had that thought process in my mind at the time. But it's kind of funny how the tables turned because they never went into being a sugar baby ever. But I did. Right. Even though I had those preconceived notions and judgments about it. It's kind of funny how it turned out.
Okay, so after this one, it lasted about a year. Did you meet anybody else?
I did. And the second sugar daddy he wanted more discretion because he was a public figure in my area. He was in politics. He was the board of a bank or something. So it was very much like he had to...
Was he white also?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And how'd that one go?
That one didn't last.
No.
At all. No. No, it did not. Because, of course, he wanted more, and I didn't want that. But, again, it goes back to the discretion thing. And if I could go back in time, I would really kick myself because I was so naive. Like, we didn't meet in public at all. He brought, like, car service to my apartment, and I went without telling anyone. In fact, I lied about where I was going.
Yeah.
So I would like kick myself if I could go back in time because that's just really dumb. But luckily I was safe. You know, nothing ever really happened. But When it came time to give that sugar, I was like, oh God, what do I do? I just started making excuses. So like, oh, well, it's that time of the month. I feel so sick. And we were actually in the Philippines when that happened, because he brought out sexy lingerie outfits and he wanted me to wear them. I was like, oh God.
Well, did you not know going into the site that's kind of what they expect? There's kind of an expectation for intimacy.
Right. But I thought from my first experience, I could kind of get that again, or at least kind of weasel my way out of it and still get that support.
But it didn't work.
That wasn't the case, no.
I just wanted to know, what was the age difference with the second one?
Second one, I think he was also in his late 40s.
If they had been younger, you would have had more of a tendency to want intimacy?
Yeah, probably.
And can I just ask, were you a virgin at this time?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
So
This
you were
is starting to make sense to me.
Yeah.
so you got on Seeking as a virgin sugar
did.
baby.
Yeah.
Wow. That had to be very intimidating and scary for you.
It was, yeah. But I guess that first initial sugar daddy kind of put me at ease a little bit.
Did he know that?
No. He never asked.
Never asked. So
No.
you never shared that information.
Never
and
shared.
I'm sure you didn't share it with the second guy either.
No, I did not.
Wow.
But I feel like nowadays you could use it to your advantage, because I hear of girls selling their virginity
Yeah.
for a lot of money.
What?
So, I mean, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
there's many men that would be a huge turn on, a huge fantasy for them is to take somebody's virginity. And if they met somebody on Seeking, I could imagine, I don't want to sound like the prostitution thing, but that could be worth a lot.
Yeah.
Right?
Of course.
Yeah, for somebody.
Yeah.
All right, so that was the second one. Did you stay on the site, or did you move after that, or?
Okay, I stayed on the site for maybe like a few months after that, just seeing what I could do. And it was either scammers or people that didn't want to offer me much of anything. Like they'll be like, oh, I'll give you $250, pay per meet.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And it's like, okay, whatever.
What kind of, I'm curious, and so this was about, 4 or 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I'm not sure, but in North Carolina, what were kind of some of the numbers that men were throwing around there? Just curious to see what it compares to in Arizona.
Yeah. Really, I got low-balled offers. I
Yeah.
think the highest offer I got was $800 pay per meet. I never got anything monthly.
Yeah.
Ever living there. So that kind of really discouraged me a lot. So I went to regular dating sites after that. Still didn't have much luck. I wasn't attracted to most of the men on there, so I just kind of gave up. Then I moved to Arizona, which I found to be much better.
So in North Carolina, now it sounds like you're probably just attracted to who you're attracted to. You're not looking for particularly a black man, a white man,
Exactly.
Asian, Hispanic or whatever. You're just whoever, right?
Right.
What do you think the mix in North Carolina was like versus, let's just lump it into white versus black, and we're lumping everybody, Latinos and Asians, everybody into white versus black. What do you think was the percentage on the site that you were seeing? 70, 80%, 90%?
I would
white
say
versus
like
black?
85%.
85%?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So I would imagine in North Carolina, there's a lot of black sugar babies. I know like in Atlanta area, there's a ton of black sugar. Now, I think there's more black sugar daddies on there than there. I just don't know. I don't know the other parts of the country. I know here in Arizona, you're not going to find very many black sugar daddies.
That's true.
There's a few, and the girls have met a few.
Yeah.
And I've been to a party with some, but the majority seem to be older, white, Republican business owners, men like that. I guess where I'm leading up is, how's a black girl going to stand out to attract these men? I would think it would be harder. Did you find it was more difficult?
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's definitely harder. I feel like in order to be a successful black sugar baby, you do have to be a little bit more polished. You know what I mean? Like, you have to put in more effort than someone of any other race. You have to make sure your pictures are good quality and you look good in them, no filters. Make sure you have your hair and makeup nice, your nails done, a good outfit.
Yeah.
Versus like my friend, she's blonde hair, blue eyed. She can go on the website, be in sweatpants, baggy shirt, no makeup, and get a ton more messages in her inbox versus me in full glam and good pictures and all that.
Yeah. Now, I've done meet and greets. I actually haven't gotten into any arrangements with a black girl. I've had some half white, half black mixes, and there's, and there's all kinds of mixes. I've met people who I thought were white, and then when they showed up, they were very black, just because in the pictures, they just looked Caucasian.
Right.
But when they showed up, you could definitely tell their background. It doesn't exclude anybody from my choices. I don't go through and filter white, black, Latina, etc. I'm just attracted to who I'm attracted to. I just noticed here, and that's why I'm really excited to have you on the show, because I want to get your perspective. I noticed here that I feel like the black girls are a little bit more aggressive, but they reach out more than the white girls do.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I get tons and tons of messages from black girls, and I'm thinking, I think that they have to be a little bit more aggressive because I think that it's stacked against them a little bit. Don't you feel?
It is, yeah. And again, that goes back to sometimes getting lowballed offers. A person of another race could get maybe $3,000 a month, but then a white man might offer you like, $350, $500 pay per meet.
Right.
So, but I always tell people, like, it's the same in any dating website, whether you're a sugar baby or you're not. You still might not get the messages that you want from the people that you want, so it shouldn't discourage you at all because they're out there.
Now, are you a little bit more aggressive? Do you reach out more than people reach out to you?
No, not at all.
Why not?
I don't know. I don't know what to say because it's kind of like you have to play the game a little bit. So I let them come to me, and usually it works.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So I'm really curious. You saw the market on the East Coast.
Right.
And now you're kind of on the West Coast. And you said it's a lot better.
Yeah.
What made it better?
I think just in general, more diversity, of course. There are a lot of white men on there, but there's also like Hispanic and Arab and all that. So it makes it a little bit easier versus the South, where there's not as much like diversity, I guess. So it makes it a little bit easier. There's more to choose from as well. It's a bigger population out here.
True.
So you can kind of, throw all your darts on the board and get someone at least.
Yeah.
You said when you were back in, what was it, North Carolina?
Yeah.
You never actually found a solid, lasting arrangement of any type. Since you've been in Arizona, have you found anything long-term or regular?
Yes, I have. My current sugar daddy, it's been long-term. I would say like on and off 2.5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. And he's a safe option, I would say.
Safe option?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Because like you'll get monthly support. You'll get your nice everyday luxury items, but you're not going to be like on a private jet going to Ibiza on a yacht or anything like that. You know what I mean? But it's still nice. So I like it. It's a good arrangement that we have.
How often do you see this one?
It can vary. I could see him maybe like 2 or 3 times a week, depending on our schedules. Because he also respects that I have a life outside of this. And, sometimes I'm like, I can't meet up today, and then we won't see each other for like a whole month. But he'll still pay me my monthly, support. So it works out.
Is there an age gap?
Not much. I think he's in his mid to late 30s.
Of course,
Okay.
There's an age gap, Lily.
Right? Like, okay.
There's not always a significant age gap. I'm talking to several sugar daddies right now that are very age appropriate. So there's not always a significant age gap.
No.
Not always.
That's true. And I've met some younger ones. One guy I met was 21. Actually, and his friend was 22.
You actually met him in person?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And what's the 21-year-old doing on the sugar daddy site? Did he have the means?
Mommy and daddy's money.
Oh, there you go.
Like a trust fund kid.
Well,
yeah.
then he did have the means.
He did. I mean, yeah, he was cool, but it was supposed to be like a double date type of thing. So I brought one of my girlfriends in on it. I was like, there's these 2 guys on these websites. They're pretty good looking. They just want to have fun and take care of us. But it was so funny because they were so inexperienced. They're like, okay, what do we bring on the date? Do we need to bring you flowers? I'm like, yeah, bring us roses. We want pink.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can't even imagine trying to be a sugar daddy at that age. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out how to put my pants on correctly at 21. Much less on how to woo and treat a woman and court a woman.
Yeah, but I was like, okay, I guess I'll be your first. I'll teach you, how to treat a woman.
Very nice.
You're listening to Secrets of a Sugar Daddy.
Hey, thanks for listening so far, and we've got a lot of good stuff still ahead. But I need to take just a minute. I have a friend, Maria Scaptura. She is a PhD student at Virginia Tech, and she's doing some research on sugar dating. And she needs to talk to some sugar daddies and some sugar babies, but mainly we are seeking input from sugar daddies, and she wants to hear your experiences and your pathway into this. Hey, now it's completely anonymous, it's unrecorded, and it's a lot of fun. I did it, and you will really help us out if you give your thoughts and opinions on sugar dating. So go to the website, secretsofasugardaddy.com. Click on the ad. There's a quick survey. Or you can email her at scaptura@vt.edu. And that's spelled SCAPTURA @vt.edu. All right, back to the show.
You're listening to Secrets of a Sugar Daddy. Have a comment or want to be on the show? Okay. Find us at secretsofasugardaddy.com. Now back to the show with your host, Marcus.
Now, did you say your girlfriend is white?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it was you and your white girlfriend and these two young white kids.
Yes.
How often did that happen? More than once? Was that ongoing?
It only happened 2 times because she wasn't into them. And so I was like, girl, you can't leave me hanging. Like,
Right.
His friend is over there upset because my friend is not interested in him. So it ended up not working out at all.
Did they give you ladies PPM for that?
Yes.
So, Aria, what are you looking for? What are you attracted to?
So right now, I use the website as more so for dating up, I guess, if you want to put it that way. Yeah, so whatever I'm looking for, I need like monthly support like I'm getting now, because that allows me to pursue my other dreams and stuff like that. And honestly, I wouldn't be sitting here if I didn't get that monthly support, because I'd be in a corporate office somewhere wanting to go home. But yeah, monthly support, and I just want more luxury experiences. Like I want the private jet and
that
charting
nice.
The yachts, and like exotic places, stuff like that.
So do you think that's a fairy tale, or do you think it's really out there?
I think it's out there for sure.
Well, I know Lilly and my other co-host Kimmy are sure experiencing those things.
Yes, it must be nice.
They were invited to get flown to San Diego for a party by one of our sugar daddy guests. And I know Lilly has gone on lots of fun trips and vacations and things like that.
Yeah, if I weren't back home this weekend, Kimmy and I would be in San Diego at a big Halloween party.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And being flown out and put up in the guy's condo, actually. So, darn it.
Great. Yeah.
And I know that they've actually met men and toured homes that are worth $15, $20 million. And Kimmy's even been actually offered to stay at a few of them, I think. I just heard from her today, and she was telling me a story about the guy has a 7,000 square foot house in Paradise Valley that nobody's even living in.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
Oh, we should house it.
I don't know, Lilly, if you and Kimmy have had that conversation yet, but this just happened.
We haven't.
No.
No. I actually went on a date very recently with a gentleman who has a beautiful mansion in Paradise Valley, and I got a tour of that. And then we went next door because his dad lives right next door, and that was even twice as big and twice as opulent. And I mean, the infinity pools and the hot tubs and just every luxury you can imagine. It was really fun just taking the tours.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Now, obviously, all this stuff is not the key to happiness, but it sure is fun, right?
It is, yeah.
It is fun.
Mm-hmm.
Makes for great stories.
It really does. And I don't see anything wrong with like enjoying the luxuries of life.
Yeah. I just took my sugar baby on a weekend trip. We went to Texas and I took her to a Post Malone concert.
Oh, fun.
And that was amazing. We had great sweet tickets, almost dead center, and had such a great time. Then that weekend, I had to go do some family business, and then we went back to Dallas and went to a Cowboys football game, which I'm a big fan. And that I had never been in the stadium, and we took a tour. We went down in the cheerleaders' locker room and the players' locker room, and just had such a fantastic time. These are great. These are like really cool memories.
They are, exactly.
That people on the site are kind of starting to experience when they meet each other, and they kind of have some chemistry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you date more than one sugar daddy at a time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course.
So does Lilly.
Yeah, unless
And
they
Kim.
state otherwise, but they would have to put in like a really good offer for that.
Right.
I have another one that I'm talking to, which I know is very successful, and he gets on private jets and yachts, and he does that whole thing. So I'm excited, and it's actually kind of funny because I saw him on social media like months ago, and I never messaged him because I was like, oh, he probably doesn't like black women. Let me not even try. And then months later, he actually messages me on the site. So it was kind of funny how it kind of worked out that way. Yeah.
Interesting. You moving here, do you have a friends group here? Did you move here for work or?
Yeah, I moved here with family.
Oh, with
course.
family?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I do have like a pretty good circle of friends, just considering that I am in the entertainment creative arts career. So I do meet a lot of people, and I meet a lot of women that have 9-to-5 jobs that are looking for more. And so they always joke, oh, I need a sugar daddy. And I'm like, I got you, girl. Let me help you. And they're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. You're so helpful. So I kind of coach them through it of do's and don'ts and safety tips and all that. I had a group chat.
Wait, so these are friends of yours who are on the site?
Yes.
And you're helping them?
Yeah.
Oh,
and acquaintances, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. And how's that going? You're giving them, you're like, okay, here's the scammers. Yeah, watch out for this one.
Here are the red flags.
Yeah, they're going to send you a cashier's check and ask you to, or whatever, gift cards. I don't know. What kind of scams have you been seeing? Help our listeners kind of be aware of some of these.
So one of the scams that I get frequently is a guy that you might find attractive that favorites your profile.
Okay.
You check out their profile because, of course, they favorited you. They must like you. And then within their profile, they're like, oh, I'm so shy. I can't talk to women. I can't message you first. Please message me. You message them. And they're like, oh, let's talk on like Snapchat or Instagram, WhatsApp. Yeah. And then you start chatting with them, and they're like, oh, I'll give you $5,000 a month. We'll fly out to Dubai, all these nice things without you even meeting them. And then they'll ask you for like your bank account information. They'll send you, the cashier's check with the money they don't have. It's like a huge red flag.
Yeah.
And their pictures are probably fake too, but
you know what the problem is? Girls fall for those. That's the problem.
Yeah, they do.
Lilly, have you encountered that?
I have not. I've heard of that scam. I have not encountered that scam on the site, but I feel like I usually catch on to scammers and just shut them down and ghost them before it gets to the stage where they're asking me for anything. I kind of have a spidey sense about whether somebody's going to be legitimate or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I have met girls and they've told me stories. And they've literally lost thousands of dollars. One girl lost $2,000, one lost $5,000.
Oh my God.
And it's just, I mean, whenever there's a financial component involved, there's going to be people trying to take advantage of you. Me just trying to find tickets to concerts and football games. I've lost money, and I'm a smart guy, and I'm pretty savvy, and I've lost money to scammers, and it's just unfortunate.
Yeah.
But, some hard lessons. That's for damn sure.
You live and you learn. I mean, there's of course going to be scammers on both sides. So.
Yeah.
I want to know your experiences with travel. Tell us about your best trip and your worst trip, because I've had some good ones and some bad ones.
Oh my gosh. I guess my favorite trip would of course have to be to Dubai. I love that city. Like, if I could live there, I would love it.
How long were you there?
About a week.
So you spent a week in Dubai with a sugar daddy?
Yes.
Was this the first guy from North Carolina?
Yes, it was.
Wow.
I was 18, and we stayed in this really nice hotel across from the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world. It was so nice. I think we spent I think it was like $10,000 a night. And then in our room, it had like a huge see-through aquarium where you could see the fish. So it seemed like you were actually underwater, under the sea, and you can just see fish all the time.
I have so many questions.
So cool.
So $10,000. This guy was balling. What did he do for a living? How did he make his money?
He was an entrepreneur. I don't
Okay.
know what kind of businesses. I can't remember because it was years ago. But he had a fleet of luxury cars. He lived in the most expensive neighborhood in North Carolina. And
You must have felt pretty fortunate and special to have this guy shower this attention and gifts on you and travel.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I remember even getting my first like Louis Vuitton bag and walking through college like, yes, I'm that girl. You know.
Did your family know about this? The fact that you were 18 dating a 49-year-old?
No, I hid it really well because I actually lived with them at the time. And I would lie and be like, oh, I'm going with a friend and we're just traveling together. She said her parents will take care of it.
To Dubai?
Yeah.
And they bought it?
They did.
They bought it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And did they want to see pictures? I mean...
No, they didn't. And if I did, I would show them pictures, but it wouldn't include him, of course. It would just be like of the buildings and the ocean and all that. And they wouldn't press on about it because they know that I'm an adult.
Yeah.
I'm still under their roof, but I'm an adult. I can do what I want.
Man, so after that experience, you must have high expectations from what's out there now.
Yeah.
That's pretty special sugar daddy right there.
Yeah. And it helps because, like, you know, I've dated bums, of course. So now I've, like, learned my lesson, and I have those high expectations ever since. So,
Have you had any bad travel experiences with a sugar daddy?
ooh, bad experiences. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Honestly, I haven't really. The first one I had when I got back onto the site, when I moved out here, he was kind of what I call a Splenda sugar daddy. He's not really wealthy at all, but he'll spend his last $300 on you. And
he's trying.
You know, he's like barely there.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was the worst. Not because he was weird or anything, but it was just like talking to a brick wall. Like, he had no personality. We had no connection. And I'm like over here just forced.
Isn't that the worst?
Yeah.
It just, you know, no matter, and you're a lovely person. You seem very easy to talk to, but it doesn't matter how incredible person you are. There's going to be somebody you cannot find common ground or anything to talk about.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
It is. It was like pulling teeth. I was sitting there in like this 5-star restaurant. Check, please. Like, how do I get out of this?
Yeah, Lily's had quite a few of those encounters lately, haven't you?
Oh, gosh, yes, it's miserable.
It is.
I had one where I just felt like I was talking to a ponderosa pine tree. He was this massive man that just shoveled food the whole time and made me carry the entire conversation.
Oh my God.
And the worst part was, and this is a meet and greet, mind you, this is our first meet and greet.
Yeah.
This is when I stopped doing dinners for meet and greets and said, let's do coffee or drink.
Yeah.
Because he just finished his whole meal and then finished my meal and made me carry the entire conversation. It was unreal.
Oh my gosh. Sometimes it feels like a job, and it shouldn't feel like that.
Now, my question, Lily, did he ever reach out again?
I told him then and there as he was walking me to my car that I just really didn't feel a connection or a vibe or a rapport. And, you know, he's like, okay.
You know, that's tough for women to do because they feel, you know, they don't want to make a guy feel bad. So a lot of times they'll just ghost him, you know, tell him later when he reaches out.
I'm pretty honest. I will just say, you know, I just didn't feel like we had a connection or that we had enough in common to really pursue spending time together.
Yeah. So. And usually they understand that when you say it.
Well,
and sometimes they agree.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you go, whew, okay, good. We're on the same page. Yeah. You have some friends also on the site here. What kind of success are they seeing? Are you hearing stories from them?
One of my friends, she's Latina. Her inbox is like flooded. And I would say she's pretty average looking. Yeah. So I'm like, yay, good for you. Hand clap. But I also tell her, like, just because you have a lot of potential sugar daddies in your inbox doesn't mean that they are of any substance. Like, you might not get even monthly or good. They could be fake. They could be like the Splendid daddies that don't really have anything. Or they could
And
be.
there's a lot.
Yeah, a lot. Or they could be the scammers.
A lot of those.
Or you could meet someone and then it just doesn't work out. So I always tell potential sugar babies to always have a job or a side hustle that makes you money or some type of passive income, because these things are not guaranteed. Any successful man could easily ghost you overnight, no matter how much they like you.
It is unfortunate, but it's just the way it is, where you could have $4,000 or $5,000 a month allowance coming in, and then tomorrow it's gone.
Yeah.
No notice, nothing.
Oh, like mine?
Lily just ran into a situation where she is no longer with her main sugar daddy. Just wasn't working out. They just the vibe was
ended that.
Yeah, not there
ended it
anymore,
last night.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. So you have your main job that you have your income from. This income, what are you trying to do with it? I'm sure it helps with bills.
Yeah.
Do you have any like really some cool goals ahead that you're saving for or anything?
Yes. So my first goal is to move to Los Angeles.
You want to move away from us?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
It's about that time. So I have that. And then what else? I use it for saving because I want to start investing as well.
I noticed in your profile you talked about crypto.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you think of that right now?
Ooh, I was investing. Not right now.
No?
I mean, you do want to like buy low. So technically, I mean, you could get into it as long as you study the market trends, things like that. It's like stocks,
Now, I noticed that you are kind of seeking a mentor in that area.
Yeah.
Has anybody stepped up to the plate on that?
Not yet.
No.
I thought I had one potential, but it was a fake scamming profile as usual. So not yet, but I don't know. I want to also start investing in real estate as well and like flipping houses and that type of market. So hopefully I'll come across that one day, but.
Well, let's revisit real quick. I know that we're running out of time, but I want to revisit when somebody reaches out to you and you're trying to schedule a meet and greet or whatever. What's your preferred way of doing that?
Definitely in public. So any restaurant, coffee shop, a bar even, we'll meet there. But first, before we even meet, I always like to discuss the potential arrangement, right? Because I don't want to get there and then it's like, oh, well, I'm not interested in paying you monthly or giving you anything, because then that's a waste of my time. It's a waste of his time.
Here's my question. How do you bring that up before you even meet? How do you approach that?
Yeah, it's hard because, again, I feel like it's kind of a finessing game because you don't want to like be too abrasive and like scare them away. Like, oh, she's so demanding already. She's already asking me for $5,000 and we haven't even met yet. I kind of let them take the lead and I'll ask kind of leading questions, I guess. So if they don't mention it, then I'm like, oh, well, have you had sugar babies in the past? And then kind of get an insight onto what they've provided for them and then kind of ask the question from there. It just depends on the person.
Well, I know that it is a very tough thing because I've had people, and I get it, they want to talk about the allowance or PPM or whatever it is, the financial part from the very beginning. And I haven't met them. I don't know what kind of connection we're going to have. I don't even know if they're going to look like their pictures.
Yeah.
So I'm really hesitant to agree to something unknown, right?
Right.
Because there's been people, they've set an amount, and I went, oh, that's ridiculously high. I would never pay that. Then once I meet them, I'm like, should I pay double? This person's amazing.
Yeah.
Or I meet them and I'm like, and I've done this before too, where I've agreed to a certain amount and then I meet them and I went, I just made a big mistake. Right.
Or you change your mind.
Yeah. I just don't have the chemistry. I like the person. Maybe we can have some fun, but it's not up to that level of allowance.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is so difficult.
It is. And you just have to kind of get good at playing the game. I kind of think of it as that. And I always say, like, everything's negotiable and everything can be left open. There's not really anything set in stone in the very beginning, especially with those initial messages. So I was just like, say like, oh, well, are you open to doing this or that? Or do you have anything negotiable that we could work on? Then we can discuss this further when we actually meet, you know, and if there's a vibe and connection there.
Okay.
Okay. I've got to know.
Yeah.
Are you still a virgin? And if not, did you lose your virginity to a sugar daddy?
Great question. I was about to get there.
Good question. Okay, so no, I'm not still a virgin. And it wasn't to a sugar daddy.
No.
It was just a regular guy. And yeah.
So what is your openness to intimacy now? You're not trying to dodge that as much as you did in the beginning?
That's true. I'm not, honestly, because now I feel more confident and more experienced. And I also am very picky with who I want to be my sugar daddy. So I have to have that attraction and somewhat of a connection. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Interesting.
I agree.
Yeah.
So tell me, we've all experienced those, and you've been on the site long enough. I'm sure you have some crazy sugar dating stories. Anything come to mind?
Ooh, I don't know if I want to share them.
Oh, the world wants to know.
I would say I had a former Lakers player in my inbox one time. And it was just like a really strange arrangement because we never met in person. And honestly, he was a little crazy. I don't know. He just pretended like he never met me on the site. He would deny everything. And I'm like, bro, you're the one that slid into my inbox. You sent me pictures of your penis. Like, I have all the proof.
Yeah.
And like, he's just trying to deny it and all this stuff. And it was like, he's just insane. But yet, he actually bought me a dog. Like, not even kidding. And again, we hadn't met, so it was like weird. I don't know.
Would he ship the dog to you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did he courier it over? Or,
Yeah.
I mean, how did that
It
happen?
had a nanny and everything.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
And you met him here locally?
No, online.
Oh, okay.
Actually, through Instagram.
Oh, I see. Oh, not through Seeking.
Not through Seeking.
That is a crazy story.
Yeah, it was just really strange. And we'd always talk and like go live on Instagram together.
Okay.
And then eventually, like I said, it just got really weird and he started denying that he even knew me and all this other stuff. I'm like, are you serious? And then he wanted the dog back.
What?
Yeah. It was I gave it back. I was like, okay.
You did give it back?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
have you ever had any kind of a stalker experience? Have you had anyone who was scary?
Not through Seeking, only through like regular dating sites. A lot of stalkers on there. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
I had one through Seeking.
Oh, yeah.
wow.
Yeah. If you're on there long enough, you're going to experience those. But can you ever go back to regular dating, or are you still doing that?
I feel like I might go back to regular dating. I don't know. It just depends on what I find on Seeking in general. But for now, I'm like, I can't go back to regular dating because I feel like I need to, again, level up because there are men out here that will put you through school. They will support your lifestyle. And why should you settle for anything less? You know what I mean? So it's really hard to just go back to regular dating where guys are like, oh, I don't want to put gas in your car. You have a job. You do all that stuff. And it's like, no, I don't want to be fighting about that.
Or you go on vacation and they want you to pay for your own stuff.
Yes. Or they need you to like split rent. And it's like, no, I'm not your roommate. I'm not splitting rent with you.
Have you ever found anybody that you've had a really good connection with, like just off the wall chemistry with on the site?
Not yet.
No.
I mean, I want to say my current sugar daddy, like at first it was really good, but then he started getting really shy and kind of quiet. And I was like, oh, I'm not really into you like that. But you're good to like hang out with, but it's nothing amazing. I don't feel butterflies in my stomach. And then after that, we kind of disconnected for a while. And then he messaged me and was like, oh, you know what? I miss you. Like we did have some good moments together. Okay, fine. But I need more monthly. And then he agreed to it. And so now we're starting like build that connection back. So we'll see where it goes.
Yeah. Do you think you can find love on this site?
I think so.
Yeah.
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
I mean, I know of one girl that met her husband on there, and she's Black. She married a white guy. So,
yeah. And
yeah.
how is that? Are they still married?
Yeah. Married 10 years now.
Really?
Yeah.
And how did you know her?
Through the modeling group that I was in.
Oh, yeah.
We
That's
met
right.
through
You do
that.
some modeling.
Yeah.
Do you still do that?
Yeah.
Some modeling? Yeah.
Yes.
Very nice.
Is that couples from our area?
Yes. Both native
I
to
wonder
Arizona.
if they would come and be guests on our podcast. That would be so
Yeah,
fun.
that's another first that I need to happen is a couple that got married through Seeking. I want to interview a couple. So if you're a couple, and you don't have to be local, it can be anywhere in the world, go to our website, leave me your information, and I would love to have you on the show because I know multiple couples that have met on the site. I met a girl, and I talk about her all the time. This was many years ago, but she was 21, and I didn't even want to meet her because of the age difference. It taught me a lesson right then and there. And sure enough, she was absolutely gorgeous, but she looked so young. People would mistake her for my daughter, and maybe even my granddaughter. I don't know. But she has been such a big influence in my life and just a big support for me. And she ended up marrying her sugar daddy. And they have 2 kids now and living happily ever after. And she's, I wouldn't say living a life of luxury, but certainly a life that she didn't have before. You know, it's worked out great. And then there's been others too. And the nice thing, I've met her sugar daddy, and he's a super nice guy, owns a business in town. And we've actually looked at doing some work together and things like that. So, or I mean, at least working on their house, doing some remodeling, because that's what I do. I'm in the real estate and construction business.
Okay.
So, it's interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. Again, I always say, like, it's just like any other dating site, except money is usually involved.
It's
but
compensated dating.
Yeah, it's compensated. But you can find everything. Because I know a lot of women are judgmental, like, oh, you're just a prostitute, you're a call girl. But you can find men that just want to hook up with you on regular dating apps. You can find men that want exclusive relationships, just like a regular dating app. And you can find men that are seeking marriage, just like the regular app. There's everything. It's possible to find love on there.
I know the girls always tease that, you mean you're going to the bar and you're getting with that guy for free? At least I get something for
Exactly.
it.
Yes. Like, you're going to lay down with the man who can't even put gas in your car. But I mean, okay.
Yeah.
Aria, do you get hit up by a lot of guys on the site who are married?
Yes. And those that actually have their wife joining them, you know, and they're looking for a potential third, or they call it a unicorn. Yeah, I get that a lot. And I'm not really into that. You know, I still respect the sanctity of marriage. So it's not really for me, but, you know, they're there. Unless they want to be like sugar parents, treat me like they're your daughter without any weird romantic, intimate connection. That's fine. You know.
In your upbringing, did you grow up in a religious family? And then what were your thoughts on coming onto the site? Because people are like, oh, well, that's just disguised prostitution.
Yeah, I grew up in a very religious Christian household. My parents are very conservative. They always judged like how I dressed and who I was with, things like that. So of course I did, again, have that preconceived notion that, oh, that's just prostitution. You're just a glorified call girl, you know? But then I saw, you know, that news or blog information, and the girls were like, yeah, I have a mansion and I have this luxury vehicle. My tuition is paid for and I get all these experiences. And I'm like, well, why can't I get that?
Right. Well, and obviously you weren't trading anything for sex with your first sugar daddy.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you weren't being a prostitute or going on that fine line. Basically, prostitution is trading money for sexual favors, like specific sexual favors.
Yeah.
I liken it to the marijuana laws. 30 years ago, marijuana, bad, illegal.
Yeah.
Now everybody's like, oh, fuck it. Just whatever. It didn't, it's not hurting anybody really. What people do is what they do, right?
Right.
I kind of feel like the same thing about what 2 adults do and what they exchange to each other is what's it anybody's business.
Exactly. And nowadays
right?
we have like hookup apps like Tinder and all that stuff. Even though no money's exchanged, you're still hooking up with random strangers. Like, what's the difference, really, you know? And like I said, it's just like any other dating app, of course you're still going to get men who just want to pay you for the hour or whatever it is, or like the meetup, you know, of course that's always going to be there. But difference is people are more upfront about what they want on a site or an app like this versus dating, where a lot of people like to play games and hide and all this stuff. But, you know, it comes with the territory. So.
Yeah. We kind of messaged back and forth on Seeking. Is that how you heard about the podcast? Or had you heard about it before?
Yeah, that's how I heard about the podcast.
Okay.
Through the app.
Through my profile?
Yes.
Okay. And you listened to a few episodes? And what'd you think?
I was really intrigued. I mean, some of the stories, I was like, oh my God. And some that I was like, yeah, I can relate to that.
Right.
You know?
And the stories that are still developing, right, Lily?
Yeah.
Oh, they are. And just piggybacking off what you guys said about sugar dating doesn't necessarily always involve intimacy. The guy that I hung out with of the mansion in Paradise Valley, he just messaged me that I just want somebody to hang out with. I recently broke up with my fiance 2 months ago. I'm kind of lonely. Come over and visit with me and split a bottle of wine, and I'll show you my place. I have no expectations, and I'll pull out $800 for you. And it was lovely. We had a great conversation. I got to tour 2 mansions. We had some wine and some snacks and sat in the hot tub, and he got to kind of get some stuff off his chest about his breakup. And I mean, I think we'll stay friends. He was really easy to talk to. There was a big age discrepancy, so there's no real potential of somebody I would date regularly or anything.
In this situation, he was a lot younger than you.
Yeah, he was 31. I'm in my 50s. But honestly, we just hung out, and I think he needed a sounding board for what he was dealing with his breakup. But yeah, he was a great guy.
Yeah. See, it's possible. You can always find situations like that as well. And whenever I tell friends or acquaintances about it, they're always like, well, I have a boyfriend or I have a husband. Like, do I really have to sleep with them? And I'm like, well, honestly, it just depends on what you arrange. That's none of my business. As long as you communicate with your boyfriend or whoever you're with and be honest and open that you are seeking a sugar daddy and there could be potential to hook up with that person, then I guess it's fine, you know? So it's always about how you navigate your relationships with your own personal relationship with your boyfriend and with your potential sugar daddy.
Very good.
I cannot imagine myself having a civilian boyfriend and a sugar daddy at the same time. I just don't know too many civilians that I've dated who would be understanding of that.
Right.
So, yeah. If I were to go on a date with a civilian, I would not bring up the seeking thing at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. But hey, like one of my friends, she has a boyfriend, and she told him, because they are not doing well financially, like she lost her job, and she's like, well, babe, I need to get a sugar daddy. I'm interested on getting on the site my friend told me about. I helped her make the profile and everything. And her boyfriend was okay with it. Like, he was completely fine. He's like, yeah, as long as you're not intimate with that guy, then go for it. But I'm like, oh, well, good luck with that.
I know. I had this encounter because, you know, I'm a man who I enjoy a balanced arrangement or relationship.
Right.
And I love intelligent conversation, but I do need the intimacy too.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of pressures of the day, I kind of like to release those and just relax, right? And I met a girl and she said, yeah, I have a boyfriend. And I'm like, okay, does your boyfriend know about this? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, but she did not want to go the intimate part. And we went out 2 or 3 times, but then after a while, I'm just kind of like, okay, this is all one-sided for me. I just feel like I'm giving.
Yeah.
And I kind of have my other needs. So we just kind of, we had to end it there. But I can see people getting in that situation where, you know, they do have a significant other, but they also need to find a way to do some compensated dating.
Exactly.
Yeah. But the intimacy part is really tough because most guys, I would say 95% of the guys kind of, you know, they've been missing that or they need that in their life. And so they kind of expect that part.
Yeah. So it's hard to juggle both really,
Yeah,
unless
it
you're
is.
all like understanding.
All right. Anything else, Lily?
No, this has been fascinating.
Absolutely. Aria, thank you so much for joining us. This was a first for us.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately or fortunately, I've had a virgin sugar baby on before, so I can't title it a virgin sugar baby. You're not the first one we've heard from, but you are the first Black sugar baby. I had so many questions because of the makeup of the men on the site, the political views of the men on the site. I just want to know how it worked for the other side. I want all perspectives. And so if any of you would like to share your sugar dating stories or questions or perspectives, we'd love to hear them at our website at secretsofasugardaddy.com. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram. We'd appreciate a follow there. All right. Thank you so much, Lilly, for joining us remotely. And
You're welcome.
Aria, we wish you the best and keep us updated, okay?
Thank you, of course.
All right. Till next episode.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us. If you'd like to connect or even be on the show, we'd love to hear from you at secretsofasugardaddy.com.